right, folks, it's another Friday. Welcome. Let's quickly go straight to business. Jide has come back from Abuja. Jide, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
And we do have Mobolade on manager here. I greet you, sir.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Good to know you are taking care of yourself, especially in this crazy time.
I have no choice. I have to take care of myself.
All right. We have Musbah Razak to fill in for sports in the course of the show. Okay then, but on the program today, President Buhari orders release of 10 billion naira to Lagos for the fight against coronavirus pandemic, just as Governor Sanwo-Olu sets up more testing and isolation centers amidst rising cases. Supreme Court dismisses APC's request to review Zamfara judgment. And of course, later on, we'll talk about it. 40 years after Nigeria's first major African Nations Cup, citizens lament the team's inconsistency, declining standard of football in the country. The team is ready. I hope you are. All right, a united support for mankind is a clarion call in a troublous planet. The coronavirus pandemic is challenging man's resolve to stop it in its track from top to bottom. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved a sum of 10 billion naira to support the Lagos State government so as to combat and contain the spread of the COVID-19, in addition to the 5 billion naira advanced to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC. But in the meantime, the Lagos State First Citizen and Chief Incident Commander for the assault, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has allayed the fears of Lagosians on the epidemic, even as it sets up more isolation and testing centers. This is the way to go, obviously.
Yes.
Obviously, yes.
That's what it is. I think that the federal government, the president, has done the right thing by giving Lagos a shot in the arm. Lagos is the commercial capital of our country, and it already has about 44 cases, which is the highest in the country, out of the 65 confirmed cases that we have. So,
can we say in Africa?
No, in Nigeria.
No, okay.
So out of the 65 confirmed cases that we have across the country, Lagos accounts for 44. So you can see why
more than two-thirds.
The president has decided to give Lagos a shot in the arm by providing the funds that will help fund the medical centers and help us defeat this novel but extremely dangerous disease. So, and individuals too are weighing in with their own donations. I spoke yesterday about the donations made by Pastor Menenche of the Dunamis, the largest church in the country, provided dozens and dozens of hospital equipment, including beds and all that. All of this will help us defeat the disease, hopefully, but it's not enough. The choice is ours. If we choose to ignore directives handed down by government and its officials who are on ground, who already know how best to go about this problem, then we will not come out of this problem in good time.
Yeah.
So Nigerians have been told what to do. You look at a country like Malawi. Malawi does not have a single case, but they've taken precautions. They don't want to simply wait for this disease to descend.
Otherwise, left
on them.
Yeah.
They are taking precautions. They've learned from other countries, and they know that the best thing to do is to take precautions early, because that is the cheapest way to defeat the pandemic. But once it arrives on your shores, honestly, it becomes extremely difficult to defeat it.
Especially when you are caught.
I was discussing with a friend too. I said, look at Taiwan. Look at the way Taiwan has responded to this. They picked up valuable lessons when they had SARS. SARS killed so many people in Taiwan. Now, the Taiwanese had already, the moment this thing began to rear its head in China, the Taiwanese moved in and quickly took precautions. That's why you are not hearing of this disease killing people in Taiwan the way it's doing in other parts of the world.
Especially in their neighbors' country,
Yes,
China.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because they took precautions early. Yeah. That's why this is happening. I don't blame the Malawians. They know they don't have the money. They know they don't have the infrastructure, you know, to confront this pandemic. So they've chosen the cheap and sensible way to deal with the situation.
Malade, one key phrase here is allay fears, which is what Sanwo-Olu is doing. That's a good one.
No, very good. I mean, you can't. I'm impressed with the way Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has handled this matter. At every point in time, you see him explaining to the people, you see him calm himself, and you can pick up from there that this man really means business. And you could see all his men, the Commissioner for Health and everybody is walking around the corner. Even the health officials, when you listen to them, you see that these are professionals who know what they should do.
Yeah.
How I wished we started earlier.
Thankfully, his number 2 is a medical doctor.
His number 2 is not a medical doctor. Obafemi
Amzat.
No, it's not.
No, it's an engineer.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought
his wife is a medical doctor.
His own wife, Babajide Sanwo-Olu's wife, is a medical doctor.
Okay.
And the Commissioner for Health is a
you expect a lot of
professional.
pillow talk at this time.
Well, you should expect that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it is just leadership. If it's an engineering disaster, a leader should be seen. It's not the one to move the blocks. It's not the one to supply the steel, but it's the one who should be able to give confidence to the people.
And impetus.
It's the one who should give impetus to the system. Yeah. It's the one that the people should be able to look up to and say that, see our man, see our leader, see the way he's moving, we shall follow him. That's the way it should be. And that's why I can't help saying that I'm disappointed at what we have at the federal level.
Okay.
And you can see still on what Bolade said, even the Prime Minister of the UK.
Of the UK.
Who has tested positive.
Positive. He has
already assured the people that he will be constantly leading from the front. Using
regardless.
Yes, he will use technology to continue to talk to the people. He will provide leadership. Because that's what you need at this time. He will continue to provide leadership.
Yeah.
So he does it despite the fact that it's already a known thing that he has tested positive. He still realizes that he's the leader of the country.
Exactly.
And that the country expects him to provide leadership, even in these perilous times.
Mobalade, it's a two-way street. There are still some Nigerians, out of ignorance or this thing about it's a Nigerian thing, and they are not tagging along. They are doing the opposite. You know, you say a particular state reported people going the other way when the state had, you know, that's still one thing. That it's not helping matters.
No, it's not helping matters, and we should expect it within our milieu. It's the kind of thing we've always had. It's difficult for people to change their habits, but gradually when they see their leaders happen on the same matter, going out themselves, and besides, when they begin to see some celebrities, in quotes, coming down with the disease, then they begin to see that this is no, it's no fluke. It's not. It's not a lie.
It's not a respect
of anybody. You know, from other land, you see the wife of the Prime Minister of Canada is down with it. Prince Charles is down with it. The Prime Minister of Britain is down with it.
The Minister of Health in Britain.
Trudeau and his wife.
Minister of Health in Britain is...
Trudeau and the wife.
Yes.
That's the man who should be leading the battle. He's down.
So when you begin to hear all that, you begin to know that really, this thing is here with us. And then the measures being taken by leaders now, I wished they came earlier. Yes. Because like he said of Malawi, we could have done much of this earlier. Almost all of this was imported. And we could have cut it short earlier than now. But we did not.
Well, I'm not alone here. I hope I'm not. The big news is 10 billion released to Lagos State, 5 to NC, DC.
Center for Disease Control.
But the bigger news would be deploying this money appropriately.
Yes, and it will be a massive letdown if these people came up with money, because apart from the federal government, individuals and corporate concerns are coming out to release money. Atiku made a donation of $135,000, you know, to prosecute the war. UBA too.
Yeah.
UBA also.
And then there's a gentleman who leads a BAU, the company. BUA, you know.
Yes.
You know, that's the BUA.
Yes.
Yeah, BUA man.
The Kano man, the Kano industrialist.
He just recently bought the PwC.
Yeah. So we have to manage the funds. Lagos State, I'm happy with the way they are expanding capacity now to deal with the problem. They are creating a tent inside Onekon Stadium, you know, which hopefully will be able to take like 100 beds. Just
I think
in case,
GT Bank is helping there too.
Yeah, just in case this pandemic worsens, the state will be prepared. They are also trying to expand capacity even in Yaba, you know, and in Bagada,
and the divisions.
Bagada where they built a new hospital. So, because nobody knows when this will end. Nobody knows. Out of the 3,000 contacts that we are tracing in Lagos, no one can say with finality how many of them
already down with the disease.
Are down with the disease. How many of them are carrying the disease?
Do you see Nigerians coming out, anybody who is down with it, accepting, agreeing he's down with it?
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. If you are carrying the disease and you announce through the toll lines, through the telephone lines that the Ministry of Health in Lagos State has provided, chances are that you will get help that will save your life. Yeah. If you choose not to tell anyone, you moved into the country, you refuse to self-isolate, you are moving around, playing with your friends and all that, you will eventually die if you don't get the right kind of care.
And people around you too.
Yeah, and others too. You are also going to, your loved ones too will die. So what have you gained? I can imagine if I was carrying the virus, I came in from the UK, my family is here, and what will I gain?
You take it home.
If I infect everyone. The way, according to the Center for Disease Control, 80% of the confirmed cases we have now originated from people who came into the country and then mixed up with other people. So if the elite had behaved responsibly, if the elite had behaved responsibly, we won't have this problem. You can imagine a man who went to the best schools in the world, has MBA in this, has that, and he did not know that nobody needed to tell him. After traveling to Germany, traveling to this, he did not know that nobody needed to tell him to do the right thing.
Submit himself.
Don't even self-isolate first. Self-isolate. Then the caregivers would come and see you and then test you. The self-isolation ensures that you don't willfully go and distribute the virus to people. I mean, it's a matter of being responsible.
Underline self.
It's a matter of being responsible. And a lot of these people who have caused this, they are elites, they went to good schools. What they've done has been a big disservice to the education that they even got.
Jide, but you must know by now, you don't get educated at school, you only get taught. If that sinks.
You are right. You explain that to
later, or later after. Mobolade, but again, there are far-flung states like Zamfara, as we sit here. I'm looking at Kebbi, Nguru, you know, in Borno State, and Calabar.
Nguru is in Yobe.
Nguru is so they have not reported, but they must be at the ready.
No, they are taking,
No, they
they
are
are taking
up,
steps.
yeah.
I'm impressed by some of them. Gombe, for example, they announced some form of lockdown in the state. And so a number of people are taking steps.
Yes.
Many states are taking steps. They are not waiting for cases to come up because they know we are within the same geographical space.
Yes.
And that people move are a lot. So it could come in, it could sneak in at any point in time.
Look at what the governor of Borno did. He knows that the IDPs are regularly visited by white people, foreigners.
Yeah, yeah.
So he said, the
No
moment
visits for now.
that thing
Broke.
came to Nigeria, so he said nobody should visit
Yeah,
the
okay.
IDPs. He stopped those visits because the people visiting may even be carrying the thing. And if an IDP gets infected, some of those IDP camps, the people, more than 500,000 people in
Yes.
them.
Oh, boy.
If an IDP gets infected,
It's good night. Mobolade, before we move over, this is not the time to debate whether to close our borders with other
The
countries.
borders are already closed. The borders,
Are
both the
closed,
land
are closed.
borders, the air.
Including those ones you don't register.
No, there are those that, there's nothing you can do about it. The ones that are not recognized, the ones that are not manned, the ones that you do not, there are many of such ones. There's not,
legal entry points.
but at least the ones that we know, they've closed them. This is the time that they should be thinking. It's not things we should be thinking about now. We should have had technology to be able to overlook all the various entry points into Nigeria.
After this, after now, we will go there. Okay, so COVID is here. It's no longer news. It's not a movie. It's not any, nobody is in control of it. Please be guided be guided by what you do, what crowd you mix with. All right, then we'll move to the next story. You know, in a move that is congruous to testing the will of the apex court in the land, the All Progressive Congress, APC in Zamfara State, animated by its legal team, I dare say, headed for the courtroom to ask for a review of its judgment over elective offices. But in a 4-1 decision, the Supreme Court dismissed flatly the non-serious request. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, lampooned the APC for abusing, as he put it, the judicial process. The Supreme Court, according to him, in Order Number 8, Rule Number 16, lacked the jurisdiction to tamper with its final judgment or order. Mobola, they are the Supreme Court, I imagine, when they say, as a court, when you chorus as the court pleases, it's good night to whatever the wahala is.
Oh, yes. On the one hand, I think the Supreme Court has been consistent of recent. You had the Bayelsa case, they were asked to review the judgment, and they said, look, and then they slammed heavy fines on the lawyers that came. Then Imo came, and they said, no, our own case is different from Bayelsa, so review ours is different. There should be no miscarriage of justice. The Supreme Court still said, no, we are not going there. Then the Zamfara own. The judgment had been delivered since last year, I think since May 24 last year, if I remember. And now the case came up again to be reviewed. And I've listened to Chief Robert Clark a couple of times, who is the lead counsel for the APC. And he says, look, what we are saying is different. He says, we are not talking about the judgment, we are talking of the consequential orders. That the judgment itself, fine, but the consequential orders were things that the litigants did not even ask for, and that the Supreme Court was acting like Father Christmas. And the dissenting judgment also made the same point in this case. But the Supreme Court is saying we need to be consistent, our judgment is final, we are not going back there, whatever may be the situation. But I have problem with that.
Okay, you as a person.
As a person.
Okay.
I have problem with that in the sense that, look, not because of these cases. These politicians, I don't care too much about what they do, but if the Supreme Court comes with that philosophy that we will never revisit anything, there will come a day where you give a death sentence, and then certain facts come thereafter that would necessitate revisiting.
Yes.
If you have that philosophy, you will never go there. there will be issues that have been brought up and the courts below did not see certain facts. And those facts now came up when they come upstairs to the Supreme Court. And then you say, look, Supreme Court, look at this matter. And you say, no, it is closed. That's where I have problem. The second problem I have is with technicality over justice. I have problem with that. I don't have problem with punishing the APC. They have been irresponsible. They've been rascally.
At least we saw it in Rivers. In Rivers,
whether in Rivers, all over the place, they've been irresponsible somehow and careless, if we don't want to use irresponsible. But my problem with this is that when you have an election, if it was decided before election, I wouldn't have problem. You had an election in which the APC had 500,000 plus votes. The PDP had only 100,000 plus votes, which means that the APC, illegally as it is now, won the election. But it means those votes were cast by human beings. They took a decision and say, we reject the PDP.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
So now, voiding those votes.
Well, you void those votes and say that they were wasted, then you are saying that those rejected by the people have now been brought into power to rule over them. I have problem with that.
Yeah.
I would have preferred that if you want to punish the APC,
punish the offending party.
Yes, if you want to punish the APC
or the individual,
even the party.
Okay.
If you want to punish the party, cancel their votes, then order re-election, as it were, and say APC you cannot contest. Then the people will have the right to decide among those others who they want to rule them. But you have foisted on them a particular person and party that they had rejected.
Mobolade, except that in logic, they say there's a difference between a good sounding reasoning and a reasoning that sounds good. I'm not a lawyer. Jide has his perspectives here.
You see, I agree with him that there were issues with the consequential order. And the argument of the Zamfara APC was the fact that it was the governorship election that was in contention. They were not saying, look, reverse the order that you made or the judgment that you made in respect of the governorship election. That was not what they were saying. But the National Assembly and State Assembly elections were not in contention. So why did you then disqualify the candidates of the APC who had emerged in some cases through consensus, who had emerged unopposed? Some of them, at least, the feeling that they have was that, look, where there was no contest, where candidates had emerged unopposed, they should not have been affected by this outright cancellation. So that is the point that they are making. And as I said, when we debated this matter almost 2 weeks ago, I think a time has to come when we will do what the Ghanaians have elected to do now, whereby the Supreme Court can take a second look at the judgment that it has given. It's right there now in the Constitution of Ghana, that the Supreme Court can take a second look at a judgment that it has given if it discovered that certain facts that were hidden from it at the time when it took that decision, and those facts came forward after the judgment had been given. For example, if someone was sentenced to death and fresh, incontrovertible facts, unassailable facts emerged after the judgment had been given that showed clearly that that person was not the guilty party, do you then go ahead to say they should go and hang the person? This was what the Ghanaians had in mind when they felt, well, only God is infallible only God dispenses
Justice accordingly.
final justice.
Yes, because he knows the
Only
end from
God
the
is
beginning.
capable of dispensing final justice, infinite justice. So we as human beings, we could make mistakes. And some countries of the Commonwealth have also adopted that. It is possible for the Supreme Court in those countries to go back and look at a judgment. If, for example, the Supreme Court was misled, because I've seen some judgments in which the Supreme Court was thoroughly misled. I'm sure that even some of those babas, or mamas, when they sit down in their homes,
Mamas,
they will admit that
in their quiet
in
moments,
the inner recesses of their homes, where you and I are not privileged to enter, they can admit quietly that we were really misled.
Yeah.
So, but as they've said repeatedly, they are not permitted by law.
Because
to
Order
review
8, Rule 16, that's what they are putting.
Yes, no, they are not permitted by law. In any case, even if we look at the issue of time ceiling, the time ceiling within which the Zamfara people could have appealed was over. So the Supreme Court could use that.
Pre-election.
Because it used that.
Pre-election.
No, it doesn't matter. When judgment was given by
the
Apex Court, by the appeal court, it's the same principle. You see, there's a time ceiling within which you must respond. You must appeal a judgment given by the appeal court. So it is that same law that the Supreme Court, when it feels like, can cite.
Okay.
That's time ceiling, I think 60 days or so, is gone. Therefore, we cannot go back to that matter.
Jide, we must go here now. Not because I want to force you to go there, but you see, this thing is a two-way street. What about talking to the politicians? Can't they play by the rules?
Honestly, that's the most important thing. For as long as our politicians remain indisciplined, for as long as they choose to be irresponsible, we'll continue to have problems. Because
because these problems are man-made.
Oh yes.
Very much man-made.
It is primarily the fault of our politicians.
Yes.
Yeah. Primarily, our constitution is not inferior to any other constitution. It is just our politicians they are the ones, for example, who go and rig elections and tell you to go to court. And that they say that you want shejo, I want shejoba. You will be in the courts, and we will be running the show in the states or in the country. I mean, a lot of such impunity exists in our
If they had resolved, this was an internal affair of the APC.
It's an internal affair.
If they had resolved it amongst themselves, but from top to bottom.
Why will anybody insist that I must win?
They demonstrated irresponsibility from top to bottom.
Exactly.
Prodigal.
What is the big deal?
Being prodigal, wayward.
Call the people concerned. Show leadership. But what we had was a situation in which even the leadership of the party had a particular candidate.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
how
the
do you
problem
then
we have
resolve?
everywhere.
How do you then resolve that? How do you resolve that when you already made up your mind that, okay, this is your own candidate? Meanwhile, Yari too had his position. What's his name? Marafa too had his position. So 3 different groups fighting one another for the soul of the party in one state.
And many politicians will seek advice only after their minds are made up.
No, many of them, especially those who
So
have
that your
been in
advice
power.
is a waste.
They know what
Those
they
who
are
have
doing,
been
but
in power
they seek advice.
and who believe that they must never lose any matter, however little it may be.
Okay, Jide, I want you to go here, not because I'm forcing you to. Talk to the lawyer who will be in the forefront. Tell his client, Oga will go win. And I hear in law, the bigger the brief, the bigger the risk.
Yes, no. Yes. I think when it comes to matters affecting the Supreme Court now, by the law of averages, it makes no sense for anyone to tell a politician that the Supreme Court will reverse itself. I mean, too many times the Supreme Court has refused to reverse itself. So why deceiving these politicians and collecting their money and misleading them that the Supreme Court will reverse itself? I think that has to stop. But I'm aware that there's another one coming again.
On the way?
Yes, there's another one coming again. That someone has said the Supreme Court must reverse itself again. So there's no guarantee that it will stop. Politicians, as I always say, are extremely optimistic. Extremely optimistic. So when someone comes to you and tells you, no, we've reached out to someone, this thing will happen. You see, before our eyes.
We go see Judge.
Before our eyes, this thing will happen. You know?
No, these things really happen.
I'm telling you, the people will tell the politician, don't worry to happen. Is it not Nigeria? No be Nigeria with it.
It go cost money, not only money go chop.
I'm not be Nigeria with it, just the look.
You know, a particular politician said, what money can do, more money can do.
No, what money cannot do.
More money
will do. Now, the politician from your state now, why you the...
no point me finger.
Now, your state, that politician come from. We've been there, said
no, it's not just his it's his friend.
Okay, here.
Okay, they are blood brothers.
Okay, but you see, all told, the politician can save the judiciary and the other way around. It's a give and take thing.
Look, let the politician not save the judiciary. The judiciary should save itself.
In the circumstance.
If they are consistent, ultimately these people will stop coming. That's my view.
Yeah.
Let them be above board.
You just said another one is on the way.
Be incorruptible. That's it. As a judge, be incorruptible. Remember that you are the representative of God on earth. Don't take bribe. Let it be clear to politicians and other people that you will not receive their money. Once they are consistent, you know, along this line, the judiciary will become better, and all of us will always like to go before judges because we are certain that we will get justice.
Jide was not in the country when one particular slogan went on. If I not chop, how I go chop?
Well, I don't know about if I not chop, because I know they're all paid. So
okay.
They are paid from the public purse.
You get what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean, but I'm only saying that, see, there was a time when nobody would try this mess with the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
Oh yeah, at a time.
At a time.
All right, that's super. Well, somebody said yesterday while discussing this thing, look, there was indeed a country, and there can be indeed another country.
There was indeed a judiciary. That's what you said.
And there can indeed be a judiciary. So the debate will continue. All right. Still to come, 40 years after Nigeria's first major African Cup Nations win, citizens lament the team's inconsistency, declining standard of soccer or football in the country. You want to stay on for that? Okay then, you know, it is 40 years to the day when our national football team or soccer team, the then Green Eagles, mounted the victory podium to lift the coveted African Nations trophy. The next time was 26 years ago in 1994 when the Dutch coach Westerhof, what's his first name now? Clemens Westerhof, as the sweat merchant, guided the now Super Eagles to her second win. Late Stephen Keshi was in charge when we overpowered host South Africa to lift the trophy again in 2013. Well, Nigeria, I would say, are without a doubt producers of some of the best individual talents on the continent. Why she cannot be the best nation team remains a mystery. So let's relive that moment. Watch this. Watch this.
So through into Nigeria. Amesimaka. And that's Adabami. And it's in the net. It is a goal. Sheku got it. Can we take a look at that goal again? This is glorious. Let's take a look at that goal again. Takes a very good chip, waiting for a mistake, and a good one. Sheku Adegwami, and he puts it in there again. It is a goal. Sheku's second goal. Oh, Adoke, Mesiemaka. Aloysius. And Isima. And he's still going on. That's good squaring, a header, and it's almost gone. No! That was the chance by Pogba alone. In Ghana, this is Africa Cup final, and Nigerians are having a really satisfying moment. Aloysius. No, that's David. Beautiful play there by Muda. He just can't seem to take it easy. Muda is still going. Ooh. But for that little lapse, Muda was going to waltz himself right into the net. He got a corner kick for it anyway. Well, that is the long blast of the whistle to formally end the 12th African Cup of Nations. The main bowl. This has been the most successful match Nigeria has played in all this series. Is that it? That is the president of the nation shaking the rattler. Well done. You've done a good job, lad. And that's the gold medal. On to. And Chukwu takes the chance for the president. The goalkeeper, the man who's been at his best throughout the competition, taking his medal. And here comes Mudalawa. And before I get too excited and take it all for myself, Dele, let's share this together. Well, I was getting really taking in my what you were saying there, and I think it's the best description for the Segwadegbani. He had a scintillating performance out here this afternoon. It is a really crowded love, that boy. That's Adoke Mesiemaka, who I'm happy played himself back into this game. He had a not so successful run all through the series, but well, that is Emmanuel Okala. He wasn't in goal at all through this series, but the and the Fair Play Cup was won by Nigeria. Now the giant one. And now the giant one.
You know what they say, memory is very unkind to an old man. At a time like this, you look back and you are wondering what happened. Musbah Razak has joined us. He's a young old man, so he can relive these moments for us. Musbah, welcome.
Good evening.
As I said, individually, we produce the best footballers on the continent, but collectively, as a country, we falter. Something must be wrong that we don't know.
What?
The way still produce the best.
Oh, no, come on. You want to make a reel out?
No, I'm not.
No,
because when I look at...
I said individual stars.
I think our
things have changed.
Our problem is organization. This team we just watched now was a product of the Nigerian League.
Yeah.
We had only one foreign-based footballer, Gordon Odie, in that team.
From the US.
Yeah.
From the US.
Yeah.
He was a student in the US. So we had a very good league then. All the 22 players, except Odie, were playing in Nigeria. And the Nigerian stadium were being filled every week with spectators because we have good teams, we have good planning, and we have good organization.
Can you really say, therefore, that you expected us to win as hosts in 1980?
Of course. We were expected to win, and we prepared well. This team went on a playing tour of Brazil, this particular team. They went on a playing tour of Brazil, met the best the country has to offer in club football then.
Yeah.
And they came back.
Played the Flamengo,
yes,
I remember.
They came back, they were still kept in camp. And it was a period where the best will only be invited. No godfatherism. The coach, Otto Gloria, does not know anybody.
The Brazilian?
He was a Brazilian. And don't forget that he has coached Portugal before coming to Nigeria.
Okay.
He led Portugal to the third position in the 1966 World Cup. So he was a very good coach. Yes. And he brought his experience into this team. And the team, of course, we expected them to win, and they won. And they played good football. So
we were ripe enough to have won that cup that year. And perhaps consolidate on that game.
Yes, we never consolidated on that game. We were ripe enough to have won the Nations Cup in 1978 when we played in Ghana. we were complacent when we played Uganda in the semi-final, and we lost to them. So
Lost 2-0.
we lost 2-0. So that was the era of Philip Omondi. Philip Omondi was the striker, the star striker of Uganda then, and he scored the 2 goals against Nigeria.
Prince of Uganda.
Yes. So we came back and started our preparation, being the host. And so when we won, nobody was surprised. We had a good team and we played good football.
Perhaps Jide will reflect on this. We were still Green Eagles until
1990.
1990.
Yeah.
We became the Super Eagles. And then Westerhoff came, took us to the finals of the Nations Cup in 1992, but told Nigeria...
No, not 1992.
No, 1990. 1992.
In fact,
We lost the semi-final. We lost in the semi-final of the 1992 Nations Cup.
Yeah, what I was going
2-1.
to say, he said to Nigeria, look, you have not been to the World Cup. I'll take you to the World Cup after winning the African nations in 1994. So that was a coach who knew his onions.
Yes, we came into Nigeria in 1989, and he went around recruiting players. I remember I was in Kaduna at that time.
You were not
He
recruited.
led us.
You were not recruited.
I wasn't a footballer.
You see.
He led us to win the ECOWAS Cup at that time, and he had in his team players like Daniel Amokachi. He was a student of Government College Rumi Machine Kaduna at that time. He had young players. Tajuddin.
He discovered the outright
Tajuddin Oyekomi. You know, these were players from the league. He had Kabiru.
There was Finidi George.
You know, I mean, I'm talking about young, home-based players. He groomed them. We won the ECOWAS Cup by default. But the players who played that ECOWAS Cup, he took them to the Nations Cup. We lost the first match 5-1 to Algeria.
I remember.
But
met them in the final.
He still managed, he played a defensive formation throughout and still managed to get to the final. We didn't really have many experienced players, apart from people like
I think it was
Kenny,
Stephen Keshi.
No,
Keshi was not.
Keshi led.
Herbert and Ejeku was the central defender, and then Uche Okechukwu. You know, he used a 3-man
last line.
Yes.
1990 was the time Stephen Keshi led a rebellion against the Nigerian national team. That the players Westerhoff was gathering were inexperienced. They did not come to the Nations Cup that year. Stephen Keshi, Samson Siasia. Westerhoff only came with 3 experienced players who have played for the national team before. Ademola Adesina, Ayo Bonano, and Rashidi Yekini. Those were the 3. And Andrew Uwe. Those were the 3 he came with. That was
the 3 of them, Andrew Uwe, Herbert and Ejeku of Rangers, and Uche Okechukwu. It was like a wall. So we didn't concede any goal.
After that
5-1, we didn't concede any goal until we got to the final. Lost 1-0.
So 10-10 was not there at the time.
No, he played in 1988.
In 1988. That was the year somebody called Ima Okusha, elder brother Okusha, was in that team.
Yes.
Okay.
And
was the right-sided
Daniel Amokachi made history as the youngest player to play in the Nations Cup that year.
Yeah.
And we had somebody that you have not heard before, Moses Paco.
Paco last
year. Playmaker of BCC Lions.
That team. And Friday Elaho.
Wow.
Wasiu Paye.
Come on, the list is endless.
It's endless.
That's what I meant. Now, I hope you defer to me. We produced individually some of the finest footballers on the continent.
The point that I'm making is no longer the case. Because when you look at the other African Footballer of the Year, for example, when was the last time a Nigerian won it? When was the last time? These days, to even shortlist a Nigerian is a problem.
It's a problem.
The Nigerian will not feature among the top 3. It's now common to, whereas there was a time when Nigeria will be first, second, third.
It has even deteriorated to the point that no Nigeria is even chosen for the African best 11.
Musba, let me, I hope I don't end up messing
So
you up.
that's the point I'm making,
Yeah.
that the stars are not.
Musba, I hope I don't mess you up, like if I go this way. In 1980, when we won the first African Nations Cup, the chairman of the FA was a Sonny Dankaro.
Yeah.
And we talk about his period as the golden age. Today we have a president of the NFF or NFA, I don't know the choice is yours, who is enmeshed in corruption charges, is still there. Does it make any sense here?
Well, the time of Sunday Dankaro, both the footballers and the administrators have one thing in common: the passion and the commitment to serve their fatherland. I don't think that is happening now. I don't think so. Money has. Because the administrators then were even spending their own money to motivate these boys. And of course, the boys respected them. That was the era Nigerian footballers will not even go abroad to play football. They stay in Nigeria because everything is working or was working. The organization...
Our currency was strong.
So, but now, the situation is different. You have administrators being players' agent.
Yes.
And administrator telling coaches that this is my boy, you must
feature.
We must feature
You
him.
remember in 1994, in the build-up to the Nations final, Westerhoff had a running battle with then Minister, bless his soul, the Air Force man.
Kasabo.
He said, the minister said, Oga, use Amunike now. Westerhoff said, Oga, the team is mine. Amunike is my joker for the final against Zambia. Don't you remember?
And he did that.
Let me be in charge of the team. So the coach is no longer in charge.
They are not.
Okay, why is that?
Of course, the coaches, the job is now lucrative. And Nigerian coaches will not disobey the administrator who pay their salaries. But you know that administrator in Nigeria will not do that to a foreign coach. Look at what
They will do that to a foreign coach. He can leave immediately.
Immediately. Look at what happened to that.
This to Gloria.
Falcons
on
coach.
The day, if you remember, on the day we won that Nations Cup, Otto Gloria wanted to bring in Okala. But the administrators then, led by the late Kujo Alakija, said no, leave Best Ogedengbe in goal. Otto Gloria's feeling was that Emmanuel Okala was the #1 keeper. He sustained an injury when we played a friendly against Cameroon, just before the Nations Cup. He wanted him to have a feel of the tournament. In the final, we were leading 3-0. These people said, no, you cannot replace Ogedengbe. And Okala was already warming up.
When you say these people, I think I remember, who are these people?
The administrators at that time, the team manager was Kujo Alakija. Kujo Alakija, the team manager especially. Now, let me tell you what then happened. So, Silvanus Okpala and Okala, they were the two tallest players in the team.
Silvanus defender.
Yeah. Yes, they abused the officials. Otto Gloria even said he was leaving. He left in anger. Although we convinced him, he came back. The medals for the national team were just 20. So, Kujo Alakija was watching them. He knew that the medals were just 20. So, Emmanuel Okala and Silvanus Okpala, they lined up with other players. As soon as they got to Silvanus Okpala, there was no medal left. So, that was his, because he was the one who said, let the tallest be at the back. Line up, let the tallest be at the back.
And he knew why?
He knew that he wanted to punish them for abusing him. So those two players didn't have the Nations Cup.
So now the two people in punish. Not be the whole country in punish.
No. There were just 20 medals.
But
you know punish the country now. The country don't win trophy now. But the players who abused him, they didn't get. If he had said, okay, let them line up anyhow, probably Okala could even be the second person that would be.
Of course.
He would probably be behind Chukwu.
Yeah.
You know? Because they were almost the same age.
Mosba, before I forget this, in 1996, when we won the Atlanta Gold, the great Pelé went to and took photographs with the team and told the minister, the sports people, and said, this is your 1998 World Cup team. And brought his coach, you remember, Carlos Alberto Torres? They brought him here to Lagos, put him in an hotel while they were still discussing the percentage, and the man took his bag and left. But is that us?
A waste of time.
Is that us?
But we other people, Manfred Ona came here.
Oh, yeah.
He worked, we did not pay him. One day, Manfred Ona held a biro like this. He was talking to pressmen. He said, every time they will tell me that it has not been signed. That what is difficult to sign? This is a pen. He had to live in annoyance, and he reported us to FIFA.
Yes.
How many times have coaches left this country? We are owing them, we'll be owing them. We are owing Manfred Ona for months. And the German coach left in annoyance. So this is the thing.
Let's begin to
this
take it
didn't
home.
start today.
Musba, FIFA says we are ranked 41 in Africa, in the world. In Africa, we are not even second. We are not third.
Of course.
So what will happen?
It is the standard of football in Nigeria. Are we playing the best football? Are we making use of the football window? Are we playing top teams in our friendly matches? These are the things. Are we beating people? Are we the #1 African nation? Other countries are willing to play against?
Your local league is something else.
Forget about that one.
I don't go forget to.
Local league.
But you get them from there. That's where you build.
The only thing we know in local league is to arrest local footballers and say they are SARS people. Because our local league, if you use one structure today, next year it will be another one.
So it will continue like this till when?
When we have somebody who will be bold enough to take up the challenge.
So you need a madman.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Unfortunately, our brother in sports minister.
Okay.
I don't know. He cannot be a bad man.
He's not a madman
He's not
either.
a madman.
All right, Razak, Musba Razak, I thank you very kindly.
You're welcome.
Stay safe, stay well, social distancing and all that.
Of course. I'm even distancing myself from my wife.
I agree. From your who?
From my wife.
No let him hear, I beg. Mobola De, our manager, had to leave for Musba, but he greets you. Babajide Kolade Otitoju. He ran from Abuja before the lockdown, so he's here. We are here for the moment, Jide.
Yes.
Okay, that will just about do it for the program this evening and this week. Join us tomorrow for another, no, on Monday, I'm sorry. But if you miss this, you may also join the program on other platforms we'll display on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel remains the same. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.